I began this activity by watching two videos on the teaching channel. The first was taken of a third grade math lesson and the teacher's strategies of planning and teaching a class. The second was of a high school teacher collaborating with the department head in her school to create an effective lesson plan and then putting it into practice. Both of these videos included several of the concepts we've discussed while working through this module, but they both also included ideas I had not yet come across or considered. Once again, this is a great example of how teachers can learn so much and improve their teaching methods and planning strategies by observing one another and working with each other. The first teacher I observed, a third grade math teacher in East Palo Alto, California, believed that a routine is very important for students to learn from day to day. This teacher also stressed the importance of planning a lesson down to the minute in order to assure that students are able to master the skills for the day's objective. She always tried to include songs, movements, and other interactive methods to aid students in remembering concepts and facts. This being a math lesson, the teacher planned to teach not only one method for each skill, but three, in order to give students a choice and to let them be part of the decision-making process involved in learning. Another thing this teacher always planned time for was some element of physical touch to her students, like a pat on the shoulder or a high five, in order to let them know that she was aware of their presence and participation in the class. In my opinion, this class ran very smoothly, and I believe that this teacher found these ways to be most effective for her class and students. I think there are all sorts of effective methods, but each class of students is unique, so it's required that the teacher gauge the class and figure out what procedures and methods work best. The second teacher I observed, a high school English teacher in Newark, New Jersey, found many difficulties planning her lessons, which were 80 minutes long. She found that her students had a hard time not getting bored over such a long period of time. In the video, there was a mixture of collaboration between the teacher and her department head and empathy implementing the lesson. The strategies that the two were able to devise together seemed to pay off during the lesson, and it seemed that the teacher was able to accomplish the goals of the lesson plan for the most part. The department head was very clear the objectives in the lesson should be specific, skill-oriented, and measurable. He described the lesson plan as creating purpose for the lesson, and it should define what it is the teacher expects the students to walk away from the classroom knowing at the end of the lesson. Next, the teacher and the department head worked together to break the lesson down into manageable parts. They chose to plan the lesson based on 5 parts: a do now, a mini lesson, guided practice, independent practice, and assessment. The do now was meant to focus the students to spark their interest. The mini lesson was the teacher's opportunity to convey the concepts and ideas and to teach the necessary skills needed by the students to reach the objectives. Guided practice allowed students to practice with help from the teacher, and independent practice gave the students a chance to work on their own and implement the skills they learned. Finally, the assessment was the teacher's time to see if the students had mastered the content of the lesson and skills needed to reach the objective. The two teachers went on to describe one final part of the lesson plan, a reflection where the teacher looked back on how the class went and looked for areas of change that did not go the way they were planned. I think that is an important part of any lesson, especially if the teacher plans to teach the same lesson again in the future. It seemed to me that this teacher already had a good idea of how to plan the lesson, but there were several things she didn't consider that the department head was able to point out, and that went a long way in making the lesson a success in the end. I think collaboration between teachers is vital to creating the most effective lesson plan to move students to reach the required objectives. I haven't had much experience with lesson planning, and the task of breaking down a standard and defining objectives was a bit difficult for me, but I can see how making the effort to develop a detailed lesson plan is so important. I can't imagine anyone being able to unpack a standard, create objectives, and plan activities, lectures, and assessments without planning it beforehand. The practice I've received from this module has made lesson planning seem much less challenging to me, and I'm encouraged that I have so many tools and considerations to help me make effective and useful lesson plans as I move into my student teaching practice. I also know that I will have the support of many good, experienced teachers to help me consider things I wouldn't on my own, because the best tools we have as teachers are the helpful suggestions and feedback of other teachers.